Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richeimer. We have a very, very special woman here today. She's been married just about 6 years. So we're going to, for those of you who are married around that, or I think that'll be extremely enlightening for you, and people who've been married a lot longer, this will be, it'll be very insightful in Merit Hashem. So, okay, I'm welcoming to our show, Chevy. Chevy, thank you for being to the Ladies Talk Show, the Get Real with Leah show. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you.
Okay, good. So you're married 6 years, and I forgot to find out, how many kids do you have?
4 kids, Canada.
4 kids. Okay, and by the way, everybody should know this is all completely anonymous. Her name's not really Chevy. She's not really married 6 years. She's not really had 4 kids. Okay, so it's all faked out so that we can make sure to keep her anonymous, and she can have the confidentiality to be able to share with us what is going on. So maybe if you can start, Chevy, and tell us what your main issues that you're here for today.
So when I was dating, I always looked for someone who was Kove'a'itim, who like set times for learning. It was like a working person who had a job, but also set time to learn. And then I got married, and my husband did that in the beginning, but then it kind of like petered out, like he stopped kind of really learning. And then I shouldn't have done this, but I kind of like pushed him a little, like maybe go to shir, like maybe go to a lecture, maybe this, maybe find like a chavrusa, like a study partner. And he didn't like take it so keenly that I was getting involved in his spirituality. And after we spoke about it a couple of times, like over the span of like, the past few years of our marriage, it came up that he had like a very bad experience with this from his childhood, that like he was always forced in school and forced at home, and he was never given like the opportunity to like do what he actually wanted to do. It was always like pushed on him. So he gets very triggered every time like even like if let's say my brother-in-law is like not home because he's out learning, or like they're making some sort of siyum, like a completion of something that they learned or anything, like he'll get very triggered by like even me being there to like, he thinks that I'm like giving him messages to like go learn, or to be more spiritual or whatever.
Wait,
So
you being at the siyum, or you mentioning it?
No, like for me mentioning it, like, oh my gosh, it's so nice you like finished learning, or like, oh, I guess he's not home because he's at shul, like, or he's at a shir or something like that. Like he gets very like triggered by it. He thinks that I'm kind of sending him subtle messages, which maybe I am, but I don't mean to do that. And I kind of really still want him to, learn, and he started learning a little bit more now this past year. But I don't know, like, I know that you always say that we're not their police officer, and that's not what I'm trying to be, but I do want to like not control, but influence him to want to grow at his own pace and his own, without forcing him or without. How do I go about that?
Excellent question. And you should just know that this is so prevalent. I get this all the time. Like, it's all the time. So rather than being annoyed at your husband for not being like everybody else, you should wake up and realize that's what's happening a lot in Klal Yisrael. And maybe just because there's so many more people, our communities have grown so much that it's maybe the percentage is the same, but the numbers are just huge. So I don't know I'm not an expert in that, but you should just know.
I used to get really annoyed about it, honestly, but I started like trying to accept him. It's just very hard for me because I don't know. It's kind of not really what I signed up for. I thought that I was gonna get someone who's like, I mean, I love him. He's the best. He's really the best. Like, I think better than anybody else I know. But this is the one thing that's kind of like putting a shadow on everything else. And I don't want it to be like that. It's none of my business, really.
Say that sentence again, the last sentence.
I said the small issue is like casting a shadow on all the other good qualities.
No. The last thing you said, I just want you to repeat so that maybe you can hear it for yourself, which is you said, but it's none of my business.
Yes,
no, you said, but it's none of my business, really.
That part.
But it's none of my business, really. And if you can get to a place where you can really, really soak that into your soul, your neshama should feel that so purely. Because I will tell you, the number one way, if I were to give you a recipe to keep your husband out of the Beis Midrash, it would be to say anything about it. And that's across the board. That's not just your husband who has all these triggers from being forced to be there, whatever. It is, I don't care who it is. It could be somebody who's like learning full time. And his wife said, you know, you get there 5 minutes late. And guess what? He's now going to get there 10 minutes, you know? So you said it yourself. I'm very happy. You saved us a lot of trouble. I don't just spend the whole time trying to explain to you it's none of your business. Okay, you said it yourself. That's why I wanted you to repeat it. And what you know, knowing something and being able to live it and have your actions follow what your insight is, what your, you know, like the back of your hand. Maybe you don't yet, but you will hopefully by the end of this call. But that knowing very, very deeply that it's none of your business and seeing the ramifications of what happens, the horrible, horrible things that come out of making it your business. Hopefully this will give you the strength for it to go into your neshama and for you in your kishkas, down in your kishkas, you understand. Keep out of it. So here's the first thing I want you to know, that your avoda in terms of you know, we're gonna do three things in this show. By the end of this show, we're gonna, number one, we're gonna talk about, you know, where you should be holding. Secondly, or where you could be holding that would actually be successful for shalom bayis, not for him learning. You got to get that. We got one focus, shalom bayis, not for his learning. That may come out of it, but that our goal now is connection and closeness and shalom bayis, not to get him to learn more. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to learn how to repair the damage that you've done. And then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to work on machaziking ourselves to be able to withstand the pain of the moment when he's not learning. Okay, you with me here?
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, good. So
and then at the end, you could adjust after all that, how I should react whenever he tells me something that he like wants to share, or he wants me to share, like motivate and like tell him. I know great job is like demeaning, but like, can I say something that will like give him a compliment, or should just be quiet?
Yeah, you can compliment, but we'll get there. So let's start first with figuring out how to have him where you want to be holding. So I'm just going to ask you a question, Chevy. Have you? I mean, most women. I'm not. So I don't see you. So what I'm about to say hopefully doesn't insult you or anybody. But have you ever been on a diet?
Yes, plenty of times.
What did you say? A bunch of times. Okay, fine. So when let's say you're on a diet and it's Monday morning, and you open the refrigerator. It's after Shavuos, and you know what's sitting in the fridge is a piece of cheesecake, right? It's Monday morning. You're starting the diet. You're like, you know what? Monday is just as good as Tuesday. You know, let's go. You know, whatever. I'll just start tomorrow. And you reach in, you grab the cheesecake, and this one has marbling in it. It's got chocolate things drizzled at the top, or whatever you like. You know, a caramelized, whatever. It's just this good, whatever. You put it on the counter. Your husband walks in the door, and he looks at you, and he says, "Chevy, are you sure you want to be doing that?"
Oh, yikes.
Explain what you're feeling.
Ashamed that I was caught in action, and also like judged.
Ashamed and feel judged, and what else?
Like now he's like kind of telling me not to do it, so just to prove that I could do whatever I want to do, if I want to do it. I don't know. Like you before I was thinking.
Huh? Go ahead.
And before I was thinking to maybe not eat it, and now I have to prove that like it doesn't affect me what he said. I don't know.
And he's not the boss of you.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me. Like if he tells, you know, I can still make my own choice.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the cheesecake? Do you have a more of an inclination to eat the cheesecake, or less of an inclination to eat the cheesecake?
I don't think it's about the cheesecake anymore. I think it's more about like my husband now.
What do you mean?
Like now, I kind of probably for myself, I probably wouldn't really want to eat it, but because he made a comment, I have to show him that like it doesn't really matter. I don't know, like I could eat it. I could have a little piece of it, you know, just because he said that doesn't mean that I'm not going to eat it now.
Right. But what I'm trying to drive at is you're like, before, let's say there was 50-50, you did take it out of the fridge. So maybe it's 60-40 that you're going to eat that cheesecake. He came in and said, excuse me, do you really want to be eating that? Now, is it still 60% chance you're going to eat it, 40% you're not? Or did it go down to 50% and 50 or 70% chance you're going to eat it?
I don't know. I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay.
I don't
All
really
right.
have to eat that or these things. I don't know. I'm not
Okay.
really like
All right. Well, I'll tell you, Chevy, what my opinion about it is that you're now about 90% going to eat it, because the way human nature is, we want to do what, if someone says, oh, don't, whatever you do, don't look in that closet. There's something in the closet. Don't look in there. What are you're going to be like, we know. Right, you're going to be, and that we know that how did David get? They had to, if he leaves the city, he'll be killed. He had never left the city in his life. Maybe I don't remember the exact story. He had never left, but now that he couldn't leave, so he left, and then they could kill him because he went against the king's words or whatever. So we know there's a part, for Chazal teaches that there's a part of every person that want to do exactly the opposite of what someone is trying to wave their fingers and tell us they have to do. So this is the cheesecake is what is your new best friend. This is your new understanding of it. It's something. So in the heat of the moment, just think about the cheesecake and use whatever visualization, whether it's got chocolate or caramel or whatever, use that visualization, because when you say to your husband, there's a shear here. It's exactly the feeling that you had when he walked in the room. That's the exact feeling that a man has when his wife is trying to coerce him into doing something, or trying to remind him, or look at there and see him, and the husband's not home because he must be learning, as opposed to you who's not learning. So these things, if you can think cheesecake at those times and recognize how would you like it if the shoe was on the other foot. Listen, it's a, by the way, I have done that test to somebody else about the cheesecake, and then he walks in and says, are you sure you want to be eating that? And the answer the woman said, I said, what are you feeling now? And she says, I want to punch him in the nose. Okay. So here I'm showing my boxing glove to those who are watching or listening. If you're listening, the boxing, you want to punch him in the nose. So what does that mean? That means anytime you are trying to get him to learn more Torah, and you're coercing him and reminding him and giving him these, these subtle stabs. I was going to say subtle nudges, but they're really subtle stabs. You're not who I really want you to be. You're not who you should be. Hashem's not happy with you. Your parents, who all the time were forcing you to do things, they're not happy with you. I'm not happy with you. Actually, the whole Klal Yisrael isn't happy with you. Every time you say these little subtle things, they're like, come on, whatever. How's it? Why are you sure you want to be eating that cheesecake? It's a stab. It's an absolute stab. And you have to visualize that when you're doing that, you are drawing, shalom, you are drawing blood from your husband. And sorry, people, I'm not usually so crass or so stark, but I think women need to know that's how it feels to a man. And in your case, it's even more so because he has a whole history from his childhood of being forced to do things. And he probably thought, oh, I'm finally out of there. Now I've got my wife, and now she starts on me like you really pull out the tissues. It's drama. Now, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, Chevy. I'm not trying to beat you up and say, oh, you're bad and wrong. You first of all, you didn't know what I'm telling you. And second, first of all, you didn't know how painful it was for the husband. And second of all, you didn't know that it would backfire so badly. It's really, you are following exact recipe as if you have taken a recipe out of a book. How to get your husband never to want to go to shul and learn. Here's what you do. Chevy, take it away. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's okay. So we're gonna fix it. Don't worry, we gotta get some time here. We're gonna fix it. But I just want you to know how painful it is to a husband, how painful it is to a man to be coerced into doing something. And like you said it yourself, it is none of your business. And women who are listening to this saying, well, if I don't push him, he doesn't go to shul. If I don't push him, he doesn't learn. If I don't, whatever. Okay, I hear that. But guess what? You are sacrificing. He is going to shul perhaps, but you are sacrificing closeness with your husband. Thing that a woman needs more than anything on the planet Earth. We have many sources from the Torah that teach us this. The thing a woman needs more than anything in the world is closeness and connection with her husband. And I know the women's movement, I'm not anti-feminist, but the women's movement has taught us that we need control. And it's a lie. The woman needs, her husband needs control like oxygen, and a woman needs something far more than control. You can be in control of your staff. You can be in control of your kids. You can be in control of your whole family. You can be in control of your husband. It will never, ever make you happy. What will make you happy and deeply, deeply satisfied is being deeply connected and close with people in your life. So that is what runs a woman. It's the gasoline that gets us going, that makes us, who we are, fulfilling our shlemus, our perfection in this world. And understanding that when you are needling him and bugging him and whatever, you are taking away from yourself the exact thing you want and you need absolute most in your life. So understanding the pitfall of doing it will hopefully strengthen you in the moment, to be able to zip your lip. Let's get to Chevy. I want to ask you, when he tells you, I'm actually quite impressed with you that he felt comfortable enough to tell you that in his past, from his childhood, that it bothered him. So in your own words, explain to me, or in his words, explain to me what that emotion is for him and the heaviness of it.
I think it's like the most, Gemara is like one of the things he for sure can't learn. He can't even like bring himself to join a daf yomi or anything like that. Like if there was a shir that he would join, it would never be Gemara, because he went through a hard time with a Rebbe that taught Gemara, and then he wasn't doing well because the Rebbe just never believed in him, and it was a very bad situation. And then when he came home and he was doing so poorly, his mother took an extra shift at work to hire a tutor for him. And then he would have to sit at night to continue learning Gemara. And he used to feel so guilty that his mother had to take another shift at work to pay for something that he didn't even want to do. So he had very bad feelings with that.
What does it make you feel knowing that he's gone through that?
I feel terrible for him. I want to help him. Because I know that he told me himself, he wishes he could learn. He wishes he could be like everybody else and learn and, be normal or regular, whatever you want to call it. And he can't even have a charusa. He can't commit. He's very scared to commit to a study partner just because of the way he was brought up. He was brought up with a lot of pressure, in a very, pressurizing way. So everything he does is on his own will, at his own pace, at his own time, whenever he wants to learn. Sometimes it'll be hard for me because on job I love hosting and we have a lot of people. And sometimes I'll start saying this entire they'll start talking about random things and I'll just hint maybe we could sing something. But sometimes it's not guests that would sing. So I would want my husband to say a dvar Torah or something small just to get the conversation off. So he won't even have a dvar Torah, and I always feel so guilty about that. Just listen to us here, and then you have a dvar Torah. I'm not going to tell him that I don't say anything, but that's what kind of gets me sad about it, The basic things, I'm not asking for a sharing Gemara or something complex.
Right. So, why do you think Hashem gave you this problem?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Think about it. See if you can figure out, it doesn't really have to be the exact
To work
thing.
on unconditional love, to work on accepting him as he is.
Okay.
It affects my respect for him. That's like, I think, the underlying thing. So I guess I have to get off of my high horse. I don't know. I don't know what I have to do.
Right. So the sentence you just said, I don't know what I have to do, is the aleph base of growing. So I'm proud of you for that. It's a good question. And, I'm going to give you some answers. I mean, some thoughts, things to think about, not necessarily the answers, I meant to say. And, you're having an understanding of how hard it is for him and what the challenges are that he's facing and whatever is beautiful. You've explained it well, and you've pinpointed, the situation well. But what's overriding your whole understanding of everything and what's kind of blocking your ability to have compassion for him is what I'm going to call thwarted expectations. You have so many expectations, and I don't know what kind of community you live in or whatever, but like you said, you want him to be like everybody else or whatever. And this is for whatever reason Hashem gave this issue to you. He's the other half of your neshama. That is for sure. Our Chazal teach us that if you stood under the chuppah with this man, it got an absolute stamp of approval from God himself. There's no like, oh, it was should have that guy and this and whatever. This is where you are meant to be. These are the challenges that you were absolutely bashared from you from the time of Adam and Chava, millennia ago. So your expectations of what you thought he would be like and how he should be are completely blocking, like a big black curtain, blocking who he is and his potential and what he could be in his life and him fulfilling his potential. You've completely swathed it over, which is understandable. This is what human beings do. I'm not pointing you out and saying, boy, Shelby, you're terrible. This is a natural outcome of it. But there's a fundamental principle that you're missing from our Shalom Bayis Masorah that will completely is going to be a game changer, God willing, for you. And that is the understanding that respect is granted, never earned. I'm going to say it again. Respect is granted, never earned. So your whole, thinking
about backward, and he has to earn respect.
Yeah, that's right. That's a goyish of though that the man that you need to he needs to. What do you think I should respect him? He needs to be respectable, and then I'll respect him. And it's no. Listen to me carefully, Chevy. A man is only as respectable as his wife sees him. A man is only as respectable as his wife sees him, as much as she respects him. So if she respects him heaps, he becomes a great man. If she respects him a little bit, he becomes a nothing. And a woman makes or breaks her husband. And when you're going to start this, you're going to be blown away. Okay, first of all, in Marriage Secrets, I don't. By the way, this is my book. It's Art School. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem, it's got 220 Torah sources, and I didn't make no money from this, so I can push this all I want because I just want it so you can have a good marriage. But the point of it, there's a whole section in here on respecting your husband, and the issue is the more you respect your husband, the greater your husband will be. A woman will make or break her husband. You have that within you, in the power within you. So you're not respecting him makes him littler and littler and littler and smaller and nothing until you can actually have nothing left of your husband. You can be a shadow of his former self. On the other hand, if a woman starts doing actions to respect their husband, and there's hundreds, maybe 100 written in Marriage Secrets, but I'm just going to give you a few. If you were like you're talking to a kid, he walks in the room, you stop talking to the kid, even though it's a crucial, important important conversation and you're afraid you're going to forget what you're going to say, you still stop and you turn to your husband. You're sitting there, you're doing the groceries or whatever, and you need to get shampoo for your husband and you need to get, diapers for the baby. You go buy the shampoo first because it's for your husband. You're doing things behind his back that respect him. You're doing things in front of him that respect him. You greet him at the door. If you're on the phone and he walks in, you should hang up. If he calls and you're on with someone else, it's my husband, I got to go, I'll call you back. Click. And you take your husband, you say, I was in the middle of a call, but I took it because it was you. You don't have to announce everything, but I'm just telling you these things of respect that you show your husband. First of all, we know from Chazal that if you do actions for the wrong reasons, eventually you'll come to do them for the right reasons. So you are going to be doing all these little, big, little, small, everything acts of respect to your husband. And you are also, so that's external, all your actions are going to do that. And then you're going to, internally, your husband's going to say, you're going to be walking out the door with a kid and he's going to say, oh, I needed you to help me find my keys. And you're gonna be like, excuse me, I was on my way out. You're the dummy who didn't remember where your keys were or whatever. But you're going to tell your kid, hold on, let's go back inside. Daddy needs me. And you're going to go and help him find his keys. That sends a message to him that you're the most important person in my life. You're the most important person on the planet for me. And I respect you. You're my king. So once you start shifting that in your marriage, it's going to be a game changer. It's like this epic before and after. Yeah.
Do these actions influence the inner feelings? Because I do a lot of these actions, but sometimes only when it comes to these times where where I notice the lack of learning, by Shabbos meal, whatever, then that feeling will come back. But for him, I don't think he knows that because I make it a point to follow your tips, so he always sees that I'm putting him first.
Gavaldic. I am so proud of you, Chevy. I'm really proud of you because it's hard work. And it's hard work, especially if internally you're not there yet. So first of all, you have to know, before this conversation, you felt that he's got to earn your respect and then you're going to respect him. And I'm telling you, Chazal tells this is our mandate from Hashem, is to respect our husband. That's the mandate. That's your mechuyev to do that. Not doing that is bad and wrong, and doing it is good and right. Okay, I'm trying to be as crystal clear as I possibly can. So now that you know, you have this gut feeling, he doesn't know a Devar Torah, so he doesn't, someone says something and he's at the table and he says, when Moshe Rabbeinu was gathering all the animals for the ark, and then Moshe Rabbeinu was feeding all the animals in the ark, and you're like, but I'm just saying, your steam is coming out of your ear, your head's popping off. Your job is to respect him no matter what. By the way, for those of you who didn't catch that, it's Noah that put the animals in the ark. Okay, that's so you can be sitting at the Shabbos table and your husband can say such a thing, and your job at that point is saying, "Wow, I'm supposed to respect this man in the middle of this. I need to get myself to be able to respect him even in the face of this." So then when you're sitting there now, right, and you're annoyed because he's saying Noah, he's saying Moshe when he said, and you're sitting there and he's doing something that's either embarrassing or not meeting your expectations, at that moment, you're feeling perfectly justified in not respecting him. You're feeling like, I'm right, he's wrong, and I can't respect a man like that. And now you can't go back. Chevy, you're here. You can't unknow what you know. And I'm telling you right now, Chazal are teaching us you need to respect him no matter what. And not only is that the right thing to do, but it's also the thing that is going to make your husband cleave to you. And it's also going to be the thing that makes your husband want to learn more. So not that's a side thing, okay? Your job is love, like you said, Hashem, maybe he wants you to love your husband unconditionally. You have certain expectations, as we talked about, that are covering over what his goodness is. And our job in this moving forward is to think about how would you feel if he was saying, all right, do you really want to eat that cheesecake? Okay. To remember that. So from now on, you can actually have the potential. You might slip up, but you have the potential, and everyone who's watching, you have the potential right now to go cold turkey and say, I am never, ever, ever, ever again going to be annoying about my husband's learning or whatever else it is that you're nagging and pecking
Okay.
in and out.
I'm gonna remove expectations and always be pleasantly surprised when he tells me he learned something or he has something to say.
So, right. So that's it's pleasant. Yeah, you can, it's a kind of thing you could ask him. You could say, when you come and tell me that you learned this thing, the emotion that I have is, that's so sweet. That's so wonderful. What do you want from me? Do you want me to say, oh, that's great? Do you want me to say, go get him, tiger? What reaction what reaction wouldn't make you feel like, you really want to eat that cheesecake? What reaction would like? So it depends on the husband, depends on your relationship with him, depends on your communication ability. You have to suss that out. I don't know the situation deep enough, but you think about that because that is a potential idea. But the most important thing is for you to lay off him. How's that going for you? How's that been working, Chevy? How has been, telling him these painful things and you've been working?
Obviously not been working. That's why I'm
here. Right. So, yeah. So that is the shift is to go cold turkey. I know Balchuva, and she said that, she, for years, this one, and you just wear skirts and you wear pants and it's a different type of the thing. And this is what men's clothes, whatever. And she said, and one day she was just ready and she gave 14 pairs of pants to her housekeeper. That's stark. That's really, and she said it was some people, they get, this pair of pants doesn't fit me well. And okay, I'll give that one away. And this slowly. I'm not going to buy any new pants, but I'm not going to give away my favorite jeans or whatever it is. I'm using a bizarre example, but I'm just telling you, you have to know yourself. But if it's possible for you to go cold turkey, and in fact, put yourself some really good crutches, of saying, okay, I'm going cold turkey. And if by accident I say, oh, well, Betsy's husband it must be learning, say, but who cares? I'm glad I have you home, sweetheart, or something like you go swing the pendulum in the opposite direction. That will hopefully help you. So think
how do I make up for all the times that I did make him bleed or all those all the comments that I made?
Yeah. So it's very good. You're on it. You're listening to everything. It's really satisfying. It's a little bit hard because you want to, when we try and grow ourselves, like, let's say I'm working on my anger issues, right? And I'm really working, I scream every day. I'm like, oh, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And I'm like, oh, I'm really, this is making me feel not close to my kids. It's making me feel my husband looking down on me. I don't feel like the mother. I don't feel good about my self-esteem because I'm screaming. I really want to work on anger issues. Okay, I'm going to work on it. And when I start to scream, I'm just going to leave the room. That's going to be what I'm going to do. Now, that's great. You can grow, give yourself time, give yourself space, give yourself movement to, or maybe keep a journal and say, I only screamed 11 times today instead of 42 like usual, whatever, those kinds of growth. The minute you verbalize it to your husband and say, oh, I'm really going to be working on my anger issue. I realize it's something I'm going cold turkey. I'm going to try as hard as I can not to scream so much. I'm going to, I scream 10 times a day. I'm trying to scream 9, or I'm screaming 9 times a day. I'm trying to scream 8, so whatever levels. Managing our own growth is one of the avodas that Hashem has given us. The Vilna Gaon says this is the reason we're put on the planet is to improve our midos. So I'm working on that. The minute I say to my husband, I think I'm going to work on this, you have to know your husband, because some husband will say, oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And 2 seconds later, a kid does something and you scream your head off and they zip their the duct tape. They don't say anything, but there are other husbands where he said, yeah, I'm really working on my anger. And, the 3 days later, you've really been great for 3 days. 3 days later, you yell at a kid and he says, I thought you were working on your anger issue, right? You want to stray, talk about punch bag, hello, punch him in the nose. So the point is that sharing with him what you've learned today, and I'm going to respect you now because I'm determined. It kind of puts it. Well, I thought you were going to respect me. It's a little bit hard to have that communication with him. And another point regarding this is if your husband brought you flowers, right? He goes, oh, thank you so much. They're beautiful. And they said, yeah. The rabbi told me that I should bring you flowers. Like, oh, it takes. So
the rabbi.
What did you say? It takes the rabbi, right? Exactly. But the point is that it kind of bursts the bubble of the thing. It doesn't. So right. Sharing what your process.
I think you need to start with an apology and like just for all of the year, like all of the, I don't know, like. Good intentions, but it still hurt him. So
yes, I think that's a beautiful idea. But I wouldn't share with them all what you're going to try and do now, because you don't want to box yourself in and not be able to grow. Right. And, when you're growing in this, I'm just telling you right now, Chevy, you're going to be, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, 5 steps back, 2 steps forward. It's a process. You can't change. A person can't change overnight. They can do little avodas. This is what we know when it comes for Rosh Hashanah. There's all the shirim, all the rebbeim. I'll talk about take something on, but they cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half. Just do little things on a consistent basis. Is how that's the recipe, the Maselis Yesharim recipe for how to grow. So you give yourself a lot of space and a lot of room to still mess up. Don't beat yourself up. You want to be on this ladder going up, not on the ladder going down. So Baruch Hashem, you're on the ladder going up. And if you can apologize to him for everything that's happened in a way that doesn't box you in, that's ideal. And and it could be that you couch it in a Gavaldic way. I'm going to give this example, and then I want you to tell me. We're going to do a little role playing here. So I'm going to tell you idea of what you could say, and then I want you to say it back to me in your own words. Is something to the effect of, I'm so glad I married you. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. And I know that I had all these crazy expectations and pictures and visions. And I realized that my expectations are not, I got you. Like I'm thinking, that my childhood fantasies and whatever. And truth is that my life may not fit the pictures that I have, but I never in a million years would have thought I could marry someone like you. I never thought somebody who would get me, somebody who would understand me, somebody who I could share my issues with, somebody who is such a good daddy, somebody who is, I see how you treat your people who you work with, and whatever, you just shower it on so that he understands that you're giving up your childhood fantasies of unrealistic stupidity. I'm saying that kind of cheek. So now I want Shelby, if you can I'm going to be your husband, and if you can just tell me, we only have a couple of minutes left, so you got to do it in a little bit of a quicker way than I just did it. Just tell me from your heart what you yeah.
I wanted to say that he has such good videos, and I have so much time from you. And I don't think I ever got to where you were holding. And I really apologize for, like the pressure that I've maybe put on you subtly, or like without, not being so direct, but I know you feel it, and I know that it affects our sound life. And I'm sorry for, putting pressure on your learning, or like making you feel uncomfortable sometimes. I really feel like I know it's not my place, and I wanna try to work on myself. And I want to know if you could please help me. If you ever feel uncomfortable, or if you ever feel like stepping on your toes, or like getting involved in something that's making you feel uncomfortable, please tell me right away, because I really am really trying, and And I would love for you to, tell me when it's working and when it's not. This way I could be better at it.
Shabby, you got me all choked up. But I literally am telling you, I wish you had a microscope. You could see the goosebumps going up my arms as you were talking. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Hashem should
Thank you for
bench
taking the
you.
time out and to help with me. I mean,
Hashem should bench you with bracha and mazel, hatzlacha in this conversation, hatzlacha in your, and having koyach to be able to carry through. You have a moment of clarity now, and after you get off the phone, sometimes the fog sets in, and it's like, whoa, what happened? Because we're so used to the. Why'd you say the what?
I said I'm going in straight home right now, so I'll get right away. I'm right down.
Baruch Hashem. So Hashem should bench you, and you should have shalom bayis 220. Thank you for sharing yourself with us. I'm sure a lot of people who are having this issue really strengthen them. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Gorgeous, right? Was that gorgeous? It's Leah Richeimer, Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.